It has been too long since we played Crusader Kings 3 on this channel, and it has also been too long since we told an original story, so that is what this video will be. Join us as we follow the story of Richard Darkwood, a minor noble controlling the minor kingdom of Wessex that shall rise up and conquer England and beyond. A young upstart from a minor house, none could have imagined Richard Darkwood would be the petty king of Wessex. Many saw it as a high rank for such a low house. But Richard was not finished. He had grand plans that would require success far beyond what he could achieve in one lifetime. Therefore, the first step was to marry, taking Princess Hildegard of West Francia as a wife and securing a powerful alliance. Flexing his muscle too soon would be disastrous, though the army does get their first blood against some bandits. Eventually he gets what he needs, an heir, a firstborn daughter, Isabella. Now it's time to strike. With a claim on Suffolk, he makes short work of their armies alongside his Frankian allies and takes the county. Then he turns his attention to the marriage of Isabella and his new son William to secure further alliances, and then it's time for Devon. Defended by his own French allies, Richard calls upon his new Norse allies from Jorvik, and together they defeat the combined Cornish-Frankish forces before laying siege to and seizing Devon. A good title for his third son, Henry. With peace achieved and the kingdom growing, time is spent enriching it, before once more to war. At this stage it is impossible for East Anglia to resist, and another county is seized. Another daughter is also born, before war for Gwent is waged and easily won, securing Richard's first Welsh holding. Another daughter is born, before finally taking Cornwall, with even the might of the West Frankian armies unable to stop us. The kingdom is starting to take shape, and the family too, with Richard now having 7 children. For a while, nothing happened, but for good reason, as money is needed for something more important. The declaration of the Kingdom of England. No more is Richard simply the petty king of some petty kingdom. Now he is a true king with a true king's court. Becoming a king made life significantly easier for Richard, as he managed to take both East Anglia and Mercia without a single soldier. Both petty kings more than content to swear their vows to the one true king. With their new and improved forces, Northumbria did not stand a chance and was soon taken. As the King of England, the priority of Richard now must be to unite England. No others would join willingly, so Richard took decisive action to ensure it would happen. The small, independent Duchy of Northumbria was right for the taking, though of course it went. Seizing the county of Leicestershire would be harder, but French allies were a help in that, though the alliance with them ended during that war, as Queen Hildegard had her head ripped off by a Viking. Richard is now a widower, but he does have Leicestershire. Finding an appropriate match for the king was impossible, so the decision was made to simply go for the strongest alliance it would be needed. The Viking kingdom of Jorvik had been an ally for Wessex, but England could not tolerate Viking invaders on her land. A war against Jorvik was unwise, but as Richard's goal was to secure as much as England as he could in his life to pass on to his children, it was a risk worth taking. The war was long, but ultimately victorious, with Jorvik, that is now rightfully York, coming back under English control. England was not still taken yet though, so a war against an independent Duchy of Lancashire was next. It was a difficult war because of numerous allies keen on stopping House Darkwood's England, but it didn't work. Cheshire and Derby were next, taking those from a Welsh king that had no right to them. It's hard to make a case that he had a right to the Isle of Man, but Richard took it anyway. Taking Scotland was always going to be a challenge, even just trying to simply take parts that by right belonged to England. Chipping away at a kingdom seemed to be the answer, starting with Durham. War against a small Welsh kingdom was entirely unjustified, but launched anyway, with the powers that be punishing Richard with the death of a daughter. Wars against Wales were still unjustified, but it didn't stop him taking a large portion of Gwynedd. Age began to weary Richard, leading to Princess Isabella's appointment as co-monarch to soothe the transition. The collapse of what was left of Gwynedd led to an easy victory over one part, Powers fell with little resistance, and then the last Gwynedd county caused no issue either. Wales was secure, though that could not be passed to Isabella, but it would at least remain within the family and the dynasty. The end of his life was still coming, so he focused on securing the rest of England, and he was successful for the moment. Eventually, the Viking raiders of Scandinavia decided they wanted some of his territory with a vastly superior army, and he could not beat them back. Try as he might, they took a piece of England that he fought so hard for. Tragedy struck for him again too when his firstborn daughter and heir to the throne passed from consumption, a horrific loss for the 82-year-old king. A loss seemingly too much to bear for such an elderly and infirm man, for a year later he finally passed. The hopeful King of England had done well, although not perhaps quite as well as he'd hoped. He certainly wasn't the king of all England, but he carved his way into the history books with the Darkwood family ready to carry on his legacy to take the rest of England and beyond. I do hope you've enjoyed this video. I may very well return someday in the future to continue the Darkwood family legacy, but until then, thank you for watching, and I will see you very, very soon.